Sup Shredders, my name is Logan aka Spiderhands and welcome to an SP Reviews where today we'll be checking out a track from an act named Doni Gameo titled Hesperidium. And if we switch over to here we have ourselves a track on the screen. We're going to be listening through this track from start to finish and we're going to hear what we think. Let's go. Where we go, we'll make it full screen and we'll do that. Oh, nice chord, no groove. There was some interesting, some unusual... Okay, I like the slow build and volume, and it's very unusual with the drums and these little melodic hits that are going on that kind of resonate. Actually, I'm kind of starting to like it now. It's starting to make more sense musically. Honestly, this is some of the most unique stuff I've heard recently. It's quite experimental, isn't it, with these really sort of sharp hyacinths that are still EQ'd pretty well, so they're not too sort of, Oh no, that's kind of catchy now. I'm starting to warm up to it. Good way to start a Wednesday morning for sure. Beautiful. So I suppose we're just kind of centralizing ourselves on different sort of concepts and allowing the kicks or whatever other sort of distorted fluctuations come in and out and kind of tease the listener. Oh? Is this a mixtape within itself? It's intriguing for an instrumental for sure. It's so unpredictable and I kind of adore that. It's nice when you don't know where the songs can go. Okay, are we building to something? Because usually when we have to slow down this halftime sort of groove. Oh no, we've had a key change now. I mean, we clearly understand music composition and production because I'm loving the balancing and the leveling of these different instruments in the mix. It's great. Yeah, no, we understand our theory. And that sound design there with the way that those low resonances sort of grittily roll out to the sides. It's overwhelming. It's very powerful. I'm loving the sub-layer of those sequences as well. Okay, I'm back to the thing. Cool. Is this meant to be meditative? Is this meant to be sort of a groove or a vibe? Am I overthinking it as I review it? Am I staring too deep into the orange ether? It is hypnotic how the ripples fluctuate. It's quite a cool video actually, you know, imitating the waveforms like that. Kinda sounds like we have different ringtones within this track. Reminds me of some of like the ringtones we had in like the mobile phones from like the mid-thousands. We're just fading out there. Damn, man. So apparently Hesperidium is a fruit with sectioned pulp inside a separable rind, e.g. an orange or a grapefruit. Oh, so that explains why we had the orange image behind it. Okay, I get it. I think I understand this track now. Because this is the conclusion of my review of Doni Gameo's Hesperidium. A track which I believe is about fruit like oranges and stuff like that, if I'm not mistaken. Do I think that the track sounded like it was about oranges? Yeah, I can hear a bit of that citrus flow in there, you know. There's a lot of that vibrant sort of energy and coloration from the synths. Bit of a groove, a bit of a pep to it. It sounds like, yeah, your vitamin C for the day. I love how vivacious and utterly unpredictable it was. I mean, obviously we don't have vocals because this is an electronic instrumental. I like the fact that this has been made about fruit. I think that's like it's a kind of an unusual thing to write a song about. Often when I get tracks in, they're about relationships, or they're about like political or like religious stuff, or they're like about really heavy topics or subject matter. But occasionally, some of my favorite songs to review are the ones that are just about a really simple kind of thing that's kind of fun, kind of quirky, kind of out there. And I think a lot of musicians sort of overthink and overcomplicate the process of writing a song or coming up with a theme of a song. I mean, within this track, there were several little melodic sort of sequences we had there, several different melodies. And they came backwards and forwards, and once we got used to when they would come in, it became a little bit more easy to follow. But that doesn't mean that I was struggling to sort of enjoy it or follow along to it at all. Like, I understood musically what was going on. There was some really unusual sort of like flows there where we would have like the accent of the kick coming on the second beat or something, which I enjoyed because all too often in electronic music you have the emphasis on the first, and it's like, why always have that? Have it change up, have it be different, have some fun with it. I think this was a very playful track, just due to the free-flowing nature of it and the different grooves and the different sort of sound effects we had, and like the little sort of bassish whooshes and the... I'm not sure what that is. Like, it could be like a cloud drummer. It could be like a cloud drummer or something. We had sort of Euro tranches kind of synths on other bits. And it was actually like a masterstroke to get these different elements to go together like they did. It's not easy to fuse those. I think part and parcel of that is due to the level of production we have on display. But it's also being able to hear the tones of the individual instruments in the arrangement and kind of be able to sort of like couple them together and make them work and be worthwhile with each other. We did change key signatures, which was kind of unusual, and I think part of why that worked is because we did have some relatively minimalist approaches to the layering of the instruments within the arrangement. It meant that if we just had a sort of more of a drum focus for the most part, we could change that key signature of like the synth melody or the cloud drum melody just a little bit. Just enough to sort of be able to like move it down like a half step and it kind of sound like it was descending. I mean, I think that was cool. I've got nothing but love for that. I think that people need to do more key changes as long as it's something that adds to the value of the track. Because I suppose we had the understanding there that maybe there was enough of that one key signature for that melody and we needed to maybe like freshen up the listener's palette a little bit by adjusting, you know, even if it's not through composed. Usually that is more sort of story, sort of vocal based, but it definitely had like an A-B, sort of C-A-B structure there with some adjustments and different sort of sound effects and everything as we go along. We had some interesting reverse takes in there as well and some introduction of distorted guitars or something along the lines that came away that just kind of added a little bit more drama to it, which was kind of fun because then you had the peppy bum bum ba ba bum ba da da ba bum stuff coming to kind of counteract that and balance it out tonally and emotionally. There were lots of different grooves on the drums, and a lot of those sort of whole note instruments contrasted well with the flow of some of those hits there and those little fills and all that stuff. And even though there was a chord note groove for the whole way through for the most part anyways, until we sort of slowed down to an almost pseudo kind of drop I didn't mind too much. We knew how to sort of have space in there and allow the instruments to sort of breathe. And there was a nice dynamic range to the performance as well, especially with that slow build at the start there. You could tell we're paying careful attention to making sure it wasn't all the same loudness for the listener, because even that can become a bit dull. You know, you never want to over compress or limit a track. I think as a final comment before we move on to the mixing and mastering, just to recollect my thoughts on like the theme of what it sounds like. I think it kind of sounds like we're going into summer or something like that a little bit. I'm not sure if the person who wrote this is in the southern hemisphere, but basically where I am, we're going into summer, and it kind of gets peppy and upbeat and kind of like, I'm excited. It kind of makes you want to go out there and get pumped and get into the sun and have a great time, and I think that's a lot like the citrus kind of vibes with Hesperidium. So I think there'll be an audience for this. It's just finding people who are patient with not having the lyrical guidance there, you know what I mean? And there's people who like instrumental stuff. I mean, like, a lot of electronic stuff is instrumental, you know? So just got to keep finding that audience. The production, recording, mixing, and mastering was sensational there. We had a lot of stuff happening with, like, you know, like the stereo panning of the field and everything like that. We had nice automation of the volume and all that. The leveling of the different instruments was great. There was no weird resonant frequencies or anything like that. Things sounded nicely polished and filtered and EQ'd. It was actually a relatively professional sort of production here. I'm really impressed with it. It's rare that I get instrumentals like this that are also very well produced. A lot of the time they're from sort of like more sort of newer artists or producers who are just finding their sort of thing, you know. But I think Doni Gameo with Hesperidium has found himself a niche, and I hope he continues to work at it. It was nice and low without pumping. Yeah, it's a really solid track. I'd recommend people listen to it and go check out more Doni Gameo stuff, because this is effectively my review of their track Hesperidium. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, please do go show them some love via their various social medias and their YouTube page, and stay cool and stay safe, and please remember to support your local musicians and artists at this point in time, and eat the hell more than ever with all the crazy stuff going on in the world, and I'll catch you in the next review. Spiderhands out.